Well, we're up at the bridge at the moment of the Barwon River. It's the Baiame, but it's part of the Darling River. It is the Darling River, but it's just that it's called Barwon. I've lived around the river there till I was 23. That was our backyard to play in, so we had lots of fun there with all my brothers and sisters and my neighbours. And at the time there's only 5 families that actually lived around the river. I think I went down go fishing by myself when I was 8, and I think I cooked a johnny cake when I was 8, and I had a really excellent life, like a childhood there. There was a big log that went out over the rock, and I used to lay on it and see the fish swimming up, and we went down and catching yabbies and shrimps, and a lot of black brims used to get on the riverbank too. But also, like, it was where my mother used to take her washing down the river and hang it all around the trees that was there to dry, and it'd be a day out, and the water was crystal clear then. And I tell the kids now how clear it was. You could fish anywhere on the rocks, but you can't do it anymore now. After the 74 flood, and then we got carp after that, and so when the carp come, we don't have catfish. It's only now we caught a couple of catfish after flood because they get washed down. It's very rare to catch a catfish, and if it does, it's really a big one, an old one that's someone was lucky to get away, but that's the only reason that we have catfish now. But we used to have them all the time. And when the carp come, they ate the nest, because catfish nest, because they get the mud and spit it back out. They just take whatever's in the earth and that, and they ate all the weeds, so the water's real muddy. Like, it's very rare that you'll find a mussel now, and we used to dive for mussels when we were kids. We used to have big competitions, but now you can't. It's very rare that you find one. But I think you can do things to improve it. Maybe you do something with the carps, but like what they say, if you throw the carp up the bank and the water comes up and the eggs, they'll hatch out again. So what do you do with them? You just can't kill them and leave them anymore. Maybe if it keeps going like this, but in another 20 years we'll be eating carp because that's all be in the river. When we were kids, they didn't have a lot of vegetation like growing here. It's only been over the last 50 years or something, and we used to have big dust storms. There are some things that are missing, like we don't have wild bananas, or you don't get a lot of wild passion fruit, or the wild oranges like you used to just down the Burke Road. They're not there anymore. Yeah, just about the fish traps itself, how they were formed and that. You'd be given a certain part of the rocks that you'd look after, so whatever you caught and that, it was all shared anyway. But also another thing, when we was kids, when we rolled a rock, we had to roll it back. And then over the years that people have actually come there and used the rocks, and that's why a lot of the fish traps themselves are destroyed, because they never put the rocks back. But as kids, we had to put them back. And every time we took someone with us, we told them, you put the rocks back. I'd like to see really the fish traps put back the way they were. Like the fish traps are older than the pyramids, but the thing is, we're not as famous as pyramids, whereas we should be. Like the kids you talk to now say, oh no, are we going to learn about blackfellas again? And the thing is, you need to instill in your kids that this is part of your history. You know, your ancestors would have been there on the riverbank, and at the rocks there, they would have caught fish there, and that's your family. When we ask the kids today, Aboriginal kids today, is how do you think that they actually got the fish in there? And the kids didn't know, and they said, oh, they jumped over. What I did, I drew it on the board and showed them that you open up the fish traps, and then you let the fish come in, and like maybe overnight, and then you put all the rocks back. But they were really quite puzzled that they didn't have any idea how the fish actually got in there. Kids younger than like 20 really don't know, because they don't use it as much as we did when we were kids. All our time was spent down the river. So they've actually missed out on all that. But whenever I'm here, I'll tell them.